Hello, my name is Tochi. I'm documenting the process of me trying to figure life out, and today I'm going to be talking about ending toxic relationships. I didn't know if I should call it ending toxic relationships or processing friendship breakups, but I prefer ending toxic relationships because ending toxic relationships does not inherently mean that you're breaking up with a friend. I'm trying to be a bit more general so that it aligns with more than one type of relationship, if that makes sense. Okay, anyway, I'm gonna process this out loud. So, this year I have experienced what feels like the ending of two relationships that were very significant in my life. Both were platonic and both were good friends of mine, but as a recovering people pleaser, I have been going back and forth with what friendship means to me and what it looks like and what it feels like. And there are a few people in my life that I am now realizing are not my friends. This all actually came about because my therapist called me out for my therapist called me a doormat. Okay, she called me a doormat because I was letting someone walk all over me, apparently. Well, I didn't realize how bad it was, but yeah. And if you've watched my previous video on being a recovering people pleaser, you would know that being a people pleaser for me stems from many different things, but two key elements being the fear of losing someone. The fear of losing someone in that relationship would end, or they'll no longer see me as valuable enough to be in their life, or they'll no longer feel like they need me or want me around. And also the fear of being misunderstood. And so when I had to sit back and reevaluate my friendships and what friendship means to me, I realized that there are some people in my life that I've allowed to have access to me in a very particular way, and I've allowed that to define our friendship. So whether that means that they can always call me if they need help, but maybe that's the only time that they really call me, or they like my energy. Previous me really needed to feel needed in relationships. I needed to feel wanted. I needed to feel valuable. I needed to feel like I was the first person you'd call if you need help. I always wanted to feel like the most trustworthy friend that someone had, and that meant that I was doing a lot of work to make people feel safe around me. And when I say doing a lot of work to make people feel safe around me, I mean like would allow myself to be neglected, even if I don't feel necessarily safe around that person, or I don't feel 100% comfortable, or I don't feel like they 100% have my back. I want them to know that I 100% have their back, and they can 100% trust me, and they can 100% rely on me. And my hopes would be that because I'm providing that for them, that eventually I will get that back. And for some relationships, it's like years have gone by, and thanks to therapy, I'm realizing that the friendships are not equally yoked, like they're not balanced. But because I was so used to those friendships operating from a space of me pouring, I didn't recognize how little I was getting back. And getting to the point where I sit back and realize like, okay, some of the people in my life that I've considered friends are not my friends. It's sad because technically, like, I like to believe that no one's going out of their way to be intentionally harmful or like to intentionally use me or take advantage of me. Like I hope that's not the case, so that's what I'm running with right now. But it's sad because under the assumption that people aren't being intentionally malicious, I just don't want to be friends with these people anymore. And that statement in of itself is not all the way accurate because we were never friends in the first place. I was just always available and continuously pouring myself into these people and always making sure that if they needed anything, I was there to help. And that's not to say that if I did it for them, they wouldn't do it back. But I realized like I took a step back from like everyone at some point during like, maybe this was like at the end of October, beginning of November. I like took space from people. It was a lot, like to realize like, oh my god, I'm a people pleaser. Oh my god, are my friendships real? Oh my goodness, what's going on? Like I just had a lot going on, so I just needed to take some space to like breathe and gather my thoughts. And I also went to London to spend time with my parents and my siblings because my brother graduated. So it was a really good moment for me to detach from like friendships, or not necessarily detach from friendships. It was a really good time for me to focus on myself, and it was really therapeutic to do that whilst in the presence of my parents and my siblings because they were very affirming, and that was helpful. So I took some space, and in taking space I realized some of these people that I thought were my friends, if I don't reach out, I don't hear anything from them. And that was sad, because I used to tell myself before that I was okay with that, because not everyone's the same, not everybody communicates the same, not everybody needs to talk to their friends every day, and like I don't even talk to my friends every day. So I was like I was trying to, what I thought at the time, I was giving people grace for the different ways that people communicate, but deep down inside it bothered me. But I was trying to make it okay, because I didn't want these other people to think that like I was complaining or that something was wrong. You know, it's just like, just going back to my therapist calling me a doormat. Yeah. After taking space and realizing like, oh my gosh, if I don't reach out to these people, they won't reach out to me, it changed from sadness to disappointment. And then from disappointment, now I'm at a place where I'm angry. So I've been processing this for maybe just over a month, and now I'm getting to the point where it's turning into, I want to say anger, but not like active anger. It's just like, wow, how dare they treat me like this, and how dare I allow them to treat me like this? Like, how come I didn't see this? I mean, thank God for therapy and being able to recognize toxic patterns through therapy, but if I didn't go to therapy, then I would have just continued in this cycle, and that is like saddening and disappointing. But what was on the flip side, and taking a step back and reevaluating what friendship should feel like and look like to me, I have also realized that I have very strong friendships. I have some really incredible people in my life, and I'm so grateful for them. There was a point in time where I really enjoyed the idea of having a lot of friends and knowing a lot of people and being surrounded by a lot of people. But as I get older, like I like my handful of friends, you know, where I can like really sit down with myself and say, these are my friends, and I feel it resonates throughout my body. I have no doubts, no concerns, no questions. I haven't always felt this way, and I thought that I was the problem. Like, I would call certain people my friend and it wouldn't feel right with me, but that's what I wanted them to be, and so I would continuously pour into them because I wanted us to be friends. And a lot of the time they would act like we would be friends, like we would do things friends do, but it's because I was initiating everything, and it's because I was constantly pouring, and it was because I was constantly making myself available. So it was like a response to my actions, not something that they were inherently doing out of the goodness of their heart, like by themselves. And I can't say that for like a fact, but I do know that I need my friendships to look and feel a certain way. And there are some people in my life that I've called my friend, and I've allowed them to call me their friend, and those friendships didn't look or feel in a way that made me feel 100% comfortable and in alignment. So yeah, those just are my friends, and it's hard to go through because it's like a shedding, and I know that that's just kind of like part of growth. But I'm like, also, this isn't necessarily about the other people, this is about me and what I have allowed and what patterns I let people get away with, all with the hopes that one day they would be the friend I wanted them to be, or that they would pour into me in a certain way, or that I would feel a certain way around them. I'm just in a place in my life where I just genuinely don't have time for that. I don't have the capacity for it, I don't have the time for it, I don't have the energy for it. I just don't. I would rather have 3 incredible friends that I can rely on and where the friendships feel balanced than have 10 people I call my friend and they're surface level and don't feel all the way there, which is a big step for me, because as someone who was a people pleaser, I should say as a recovering people pleaser, I wanted to be able to please everyone. I wanted everyone to feel like I was the best friend that they could have, and I wanted everyone to feel like, oh, Tochi gets me, Tochi understands me, I can talk to Tochi about anything, I can call her if I need help. That's what I wanted, but that's not friendship. Like, that's not friendship. Just because you make yourself available for people doesn't mean that they're your friends. And that is something that at my big age, I'm realizing now, or I'm fully processing now. And I think I want to say that English is also part of the problem, because it's like there aren't enough words to describe the different types of relationships that can exist, that one can have. And that's even platonic. Like, the 3 I can think of are like stranger, acquaintance, friend. Like, what are the others outside of the family relationships, you know, like sibling and daughter and son and all that? Like, outside of those, there aren't really a lot of words that I can think of that are used on like a day-to-day basis. You know, like, people aren't going around being like, that's my comrade. You know what I mean? One particular part of this period of ending toxic relationships, or like friendship breakups, whatever you want to call them, is me not feeling guilty for choosing myself. There was a time in my life where I would be so afraid to, or I would be so uncomfortable knowing that I haven't been able to explain myself so that they understand why I'm moving the way I'm moving. But there's nothing to explain right now. I took space without saying anything actually, and I was made clear that the friendships are unbalanced. And even, it's not even just like from me taking space. Like, there are some friendships that I had that I realized, like, the way this person talks to me and the way they treat me for real is not okay. Like, I would never say that to them, but I'm allowing them to say it to me, and I'm I'm making excuses for it because whatever. Like, I'll just, like, if someone will do something or say something to me that I didn't like or maybe uncomfortable, in my mind I'll remember that they shared something with me, like something like a secret that contributes to their character, and in my mind I'd be like, well, they went through this thing and that's why they do this, and I'll just try and justify it in my head. But something that my therapist has been really clear on is the things that people have been through is not a justification for them to be bad people. Like, get help, go to therapy, like, do what you need to do to not keep repeating the same toxic behaviors and pouring that toxicity into relationships. It's not fair. It's not fair at all. And it feels really good. Honestly, it feels so good to choose myself in this way. It's almost as if therapy gave me permission to do it because I was too afraid to do it before. But now I feel so good in myself. I was so nervous, actually. I was nervous, and like, it was giving me anxiety. Like, oh my God, am I being a bad person? Am I being a bad friend? How do I rectify this? How do I fix this? As if I'm the one that was treating people in a bad way, or as if I'm the one that wasn't pouring into these relationships. I'm just tired of feeling taken advantage of. I'm tired of feeling I'm constantly pouring and not really getting the same amount of pour back. I'm tired of feeling like something's off and just like overlooking that off feeling. I'm tired of not listening to my intuition. I'm tired of not listening to my gut. I'm tired of wanting to be understood by everyone. I'm not going to be understood by everyone, and that's fine. Like, the people in my life that understand me, and the friends that are there for me are there for me. So either you're there for me or you're not, and I don't have time for explanation about why you're not. If you're not, move out of my way. Okay? I'm tired. Like, I've been there for so many people, and out of the goodness of my heart, like, not expecting anything in return, I've really tried my best to be a source of support and light and care for people as much as I can, and I still am, but that's not going to be the foundation of my friendships. It's not. And if it has been the foundation of my friendships, then those friendships, in my opinion, have ended, and maybe they need a restart button. Maybe, you know, there's definitely conversations that need to be had if the fire in those friendships are going to be reignited. But as of now, I feel really good with the people in my life. I feel really like cared for and understood, and I feel like heard, and I feel seen, and I just feel like valued in a very particular way that I haven't felt with all people that I call my friends. And I don't think these people are doing it intentionally. Let me not say people are doing it intentionally, but it's also like, let me not even only say friends. Like, I've created boundaries with everyone in my life now. Well, I'm in the process of still trying to figure out what those boundaries are, but placing boundaries so that even for myself, like, if someone says something or does something that doesn't make me feel right, rather than just brush it off like it's nothing, I'm getting used to vocalizing how I feel and not being afraid of the person deciding that they don't want me in my life because I vocalized how I feel. If you don't want me in your life because I vocalized how I feel, then I guess we're just not meant to be in one another's lives, and that is completely fine. Let me put you guys back here. I also think that we are so frequently taught about, or like we read or we watch about romantic breakups and how to handle them, but I really friendship breakups and like platonic breakups are so, it's like they're almost more painful, or I can't even compare the pain, to be honest. Like, romantic and platonic breakups, I can't really compare the pain, but the first friendship breakup that I went through that really shattered my world was in like 2017. Oh my god, I had a friend who just did a complete 180 on me. Like, it was crazy, it was wild. Like, it really rocked my world. It really rocked my world. Like, she went out of her way to make my life a living hell. And when I tell you, like, she gaslit me so bad. I remember being in her apartment crying, like, what did I do? Like, why are you treating me like this? And she was like, why are you crying? You didn't do anything. And it was wild, because if I didn't do anything, then why are you treating me like you know? And even through that, oh my god, I'm thinking about it now. Even through that, like, I was trying to figure out, like, what did I do? Please, how can I fix this? Texting her, reaching out to her. And after a while, I got exhausted. It was taking such a toll on me. I just had to take space, and I decided, like, this friendship is over. But that was, at the time, like, that was 100% one of my best friends. Also, she was treating me like with someone else, and a few years later that someone else called me to apologize, to say like, oh, I recognize, you know, like, what we did wasn't right. Also, what does she do? I have lupus, and she essentially like shared that information with someone, but to make fun of me. I would never do that. Like, if someone shared something with me in confidence and like our friendship ends, or you do something to piss me off, I'm not going to use that information that you've shared with me in confidence as ammunition against you. Like, I'm just not going to do that. That's not nice. And the fact that she was able to do that was like a huge shock for me, and for a while it was hard for me to make friends after that, like friends that I was like, that I could trust, because I trusted her 110%. But now that I'm going through this period of, what I say, like self-reflection and reflection of the relationships around me, I'm not feeling as shattered. I'm feeling more hopeful and more grounded and proud of myself, to be honest. Like, proud of myself for choosing myself in this way, and knowing that I don't even feel like ill feelings, you know? It's just like, okay, this is how it is. It's unfortunate and it's sad, but this is how it is. I've tried my best to be the best friend I could be to everyone, honestly. Everyone that I've ever considered a friend and that I do consider a friend, I try my best to be the best type of friend that I can provide for them. And I recognize that I'm not for everyone, and that's okay. And everyone isn't for me, and that's also okay. And I'm really excited. This is a great way to end the year, honestly, like this shedding. So I'm excited to start this new year feeling really grounded with the relationships in my life, feeling very, very grounded and secure. Yes, feeling secure. That is something I need in my friendships. I haven't always felt secure in all of my friendships, and I just let that like slide. But no, I need to feel secure in my friendships, and if I don't, then we're not friends, and that's okay. And maybe we can have a conversation about it. But if after years have gone by and I still don't feel secure in a relationship, maybe there's no conversation that needs to be had, honestly. We just have to move in our respective directions, and that's okay. Yeah, dealing with ending toxic relationships and ending toxic patterns and friendship breakups, whatever you want to call them, it's not necessarily easy, but when you get to the other side of it, when you make it out of the other end, it's really worth it. It's really, really worth it. I'm hoping that I'll watch this in the future and be smiling as I watch it. I'm even glad that I can record this, honestly, because at some point I would have thought this is so cringe. Anyways, I guess that's my diary entry for today. Thank you for watching another episode of The Diary of a Recovering People Pleaser. I'll see you in my next video. Bye for now.